Hey everyone, I hadn't planned on making a video today, but there's been something on my mind practically all day, and I just kind of want to get it off my chest. I apologize in advance for the noise. Oh, it's so noisy around here. I've got the window open simply because it's just so warm in this room. Um, yeah, yeah. As I was saying, I didn't plan to make a video today, but I've got this thing on my mind, and I just wanted to get off my chest. And I find making these videos therapeutic anyway. So, over the past couple of days, I've watched a lot of videos by ex-Jehovah's Witnesses on the subject of self-esteem and self-worth, which is something that I can relate to a lot because I've had low self-esteem for much of my life. And although it would be disingenuous of me to say that that all completely comes from being raised as a Jehovah's Witness, it wouldn't be truthful for me to say that. A lot of it comes from other things, but I think I said this in my first video that if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you suffer from low self-esteem, it's the worst place in the world you could possibly be. And in addition to that, there are many, many things about the religion that actually contribute to low self-esteem or even cause it. In my case, it was a bit of both. So this whole self-esteem thing is something that just comes up so frequently among ex-witnesses over and over again. There are a few things that come up regularly, but this is like way up there. It's like one of the main things. So I've been thinking a lot today about why that is. And there's a really good video by an ex-witness called Jay the Comedian. If I can find the video, I'll link it down below, but it's a really, really good video, and it basically speaks about certain things that Jehovah's Witnesses believe and the official reasons for those beliefs, but then the real reasons. So on the list of beliefs was like birthdays, why Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate birthdays. Now, the official reason is because early Christians didn't celebrate birthdays. They saw it as a pagan custom. There are only two mentions of birthday celebrations in the Bible, and on both of those occasions, somebody was murdered in celebration of that birthday. So for that reason, Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate birthdays. That's the official reason. But Jay the Comedian said something that really made me think. He said the real reason is because the organization does not want you to celebrate yourself. And when I heard that, that was like a, a bomb going off in my head, because it made so much sense, and it aligns so much with the experience that I've had as a witness and the challenges that I had with self-esteem. And there's so much, I mean, denying your sense of self as a concept is such a huge part of being a witness. It really, really is a huge part of being a witness. I can't think of, take for instance the word slave. I can't think of any context where the word slave is a positive thing or seen as a good thing. But in the Jehovah's Witness religion, if you describe yourself as a slave for Christ, that's seen as being a good thing. That is actually a phrase. Being a slave for Christ, or slaving for the good news, or slaving, it's seen as a good thing. It's seen as a positive thing. And honestly, my mind has just been going round and round about all of this all day. And what's had the biggest impact on me today is watching these videos and seeing how damaged all of these people are, how damaged and broken these people are, and the so many of them, people who have so much potential, and to see how all of that has just been broken, and it's really, really sad, and it's made me really sad today. I haven't been happy or been in a good mood all day. Just the enormity of this realization, how many broken people there are, how many people who don't like themselves, and I'm one of those people. My girlfriend is always trying to get me to think of myself in positive ways and say, aren't you proud of yourself for what you achieved on this particular thing? Or can you say that you're pleased with yourself now? And it's a struggle for me to say yes, I'm pleased with myself, or yes, I'm proud of myself. It's a struggle. It literally is. You know, um, One thing that I remember is that witnesses are not very good at taking compliments. You know, not very good at taking compliments at all. I mean, I don't know how it is as a woman being a witness in this regard, but as a man, when you give talks at the Kingdom Hall and people congratulate you or commend you on your talk, you know, it's to, it's not quite told to you, but excuse me, you pick up on these subtle cues that it's not really a good thing to accept those compliments, because it's seen as being proud or arrogant, or being too confident in your own abilities, when really it was Jehovah or the Holy Spirit that made you do the good talk, not you yourself. It had nothing to do with your own abilities. It had nothing to do with the hard work that you put in researching the material, or formulating your ideas of what you're going to say or how you're going to say it, your delivery or your eloquence or anything like that. It's nothing to do with that, nothing to do with you, why the talk went well. It was all because of Jehovah and the Holy Spirit. You're supposed to direct the praise towards that. And I started giving talks at the Kingdom Hall when I was about 6 or 7. So from the age of 6 or 7, I was taught that I shouldn't feel pride within myself for any abilities that I had, where, public speaking was concerned. 6 or 7 years old. And I'm not supposed to think to myself, yeah, I'm good at doing that. But I'm thinking to myself, why? What's the purpose behind all of this? What's the end game? Why instill, you know, why instill these things in people? Why? How does it serve the organization for people to behave like slaves and to not value themselves, or to not argue or represent themselves in their own interests or anything like that? Why? Well, how does it benefit the organization? But then I saw another video. I can't remember whose video it was. I think it was Elizabeth B. There's another YouTuber I'll link below. I think she said something like the governing body are basically just businessmen. And my inner Jehovah's Witness took offense to that. I still have an inner Jehovah's Witness, and immediately did take offense to that. But I do think she's kind of got a point. If you look at the organization's origins, it was basically a publishing company. Yeah, that's another thing. Why? Okay, why are Jehovah's Witnesses called publishers? Why? Why are Jehovah's Witnesses called publishers? It doesn't make sense. That's not even a religious term. Tell me one religion, right, that involves preaching, where the preachers are called publishers, or given some other kind of label that is more commercial than religious. All my life as a witness, I never ever questioned why we were called publishers. But now it makes sense. It's because we were unpaid employees for a publishing company. That's why. That's why it's so important to the organization that we have a diminished sense of self that looks for the organization's interests instead of our own. Because if we're looking for our own interests, what's the first thing a slave or an indentured servant is going to want once they realize that they are able or allowed to represent their own interests? What's the first thing they're going to want? They're going to want to get paid for their work. I mean, this isn't new. If you have an unpaid workforce, you make money. That's not new. That's not a new concept. So all of these things are starting to line up in my head now. That's why we're called publishers. Or that's why witnesses are called publishers. That's why I was called a publisher. See, I've still got that inner Jehovah's Witness using words like we and us. You know, that is why witnesses are called publishers. That is why the organization tries to quash any sense of self that you have, so that you don't represent your own interest. You don't think about your own interest. You don't want to serve your own interest. You serve the organizations. And I think that that's really the reason why I never 100% fit. I never did fit into that mold, because you can't be a good Jehovah's Witness and have a strong sense of self. It's incompatible. Being a witness is all about self-denial in every single way possible you can imagine. And because I've always had that, I wouldn't necessarily say a strong sense of self, but I've always had that within me, that I'm an individual. I've always valued my individuality, and it's like my spidey sense that I can tell from a mile off when someone is trying to squeeze me into a mold, and I hate it. I can tell when someone's trying to squeeze me into a mold. You know, I'm me, I'm an individual. I don't fit into a mold. I'm my own mold. And I think that's really why I never ever progressed in the organization. I never became a ministerial servant. I never became an elder, because I valued that sense of self too much. And to be a good Jehovah's Witness, especially as a man, you have to completely deny every single thing about yourself. And the thing is, while I was a witness, I never ever saw that as being extreme. I never saw it as being extreme. But it's so blatantly obvious to me now how extreme that actually is. You know, nobody likes somebody who brags all the time. Nobody likes a person who's proud and pompous and arrogant and full of themselves and egotistical. Nobody likes somebody who's like that. But there's got to be a middle ground between being like that and completely denying yourself. There's got to be a middle ground there somewhere. You know, I was called selfish and egotistical, you know, by various people who I won't name. I'm laughing at But I was called that by various people simply because I held onto that sense of self, and I didn't want to completely deny myself and be a slave or an employee, you know. But it doesn't have to be one extreme or the other. You know, you can value yourself and want to achieve things for yourself, and at the same time not be selfish and self-centered. It is possible, but the organization would have you believe that it's one or the other. You know, and I'm starting to feel like it's planned that way, so that you continue providing the organization with free labor. It started off as a publishing company. You know, that was the business model back then. It seems now that, you know, the business model is property. I saw a clip from a JW.org video with one of the governing body members, Anthony Morris III, where he's saying to young people in the truth, in the new system, in the paradise, we're not going to need doctors, we're not going to need lawyers, we're going to need plumbers and builders and carpenters. You know, those are the trades that the organization is going to need after Armageddon, when only witnesses are left on the earth and they now have the task to rebuild the earth into a paradise. Those are the skills they're going to need. Coincidentally, those are exactly the same skills the organization needs now to build kingdom halls for free and then sell them at a profit. For any non-Jehovah's Witnesses watching this video, Jehovah's Witnesses don't employ building contractors to build their buildings. Those buildings are built by volunteers. Some skilled, some unskilled, but volunteers. It's volunteer labor that builds the kingdom halls. The organization only pays for the land and the materials. That's it. And anyone who knows anything about the building trade will know that the biggest cost is labor. But they don't pay for labor to build these kingdom halls. And nobody builds buildings faster than Jehovah's Witnesses. Jehovah's Witnesses can build a kingdom hall over a weekend. It's called a quick build. I know because I've been on them. And it just makes me think, all of the lost potential people, the kind of people whose videos I've been watching since yesterday, people who are crushed and broken inside because they haven't realized their potential and they have low self-esteem. I saw a video by one ex-witness today, and she was saying that, you know, she has dreams and ambitions. She wants to do this and wants to do that, but she doesn't feel capable because she has such low self-esteem. It's like the organization, you know, broke that out of her. You know, it's sad. It's so, so sad. It's so sad. It really, really is sad. I can't think of any other way to say it. It's just, I've been in a mood all day because of this. You know, the enormity of the damage that is and the toll it's taken on so many people. You know, that's just really been weighing on me, and it's just made me feel really sad. So you're if you're a witness who's thinking about leaving the organization, or if you're somebody who's recently left the organization and you're struggling with all of these kind of feelings, you're not alone. You really, really are not alone. But understanding that wanting to feel good about yourself, wanting to achieve something for yourself, you know, having dreams and ambitions, finally understanding and believing that those things are not wrong is your first step along to healing healing that part of you. I mean, there's going to be so many parts of you that are broken for different reasons and, you know, different things. But on this particular one, understand that wanting to feel good about yourself, wanting to feel pleased with yourself, wanting to feel proud of yourself for whatever skills or abilities that you have, or wanting to achieve something, it's not wrong. It is not wrong. Believe that, understand that, and you would have taken the first step along the road to healing that part of you. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.